All right, YouTube. Here I am, getting ready to modify this Halloween Mandalorian Blaster pistol prop. Got it at Halloween Express for about 15 bucks. I'm just removing it from the packaging right there. And it's going to give you some shots of it the way that it looks before I start doing anything to it. So it's this dreadful orange and white color. And I know why they do that, and I'm not going to get into it, but it's dreadful looking. So here I am starting the sanding process. And before you're going to repaint anything like this, you're going to need to sand it. You want the paint to adhere to the plastic. And here I am is removing the plastic resin logo that says Rubies and all the copyright information. All right. So then I take a damp cloth. You can use paper towel. You don't need to buy anything special. And wipe off the excess plastic dust. Here I am starting to do the spray painting. I'm going to give it a flat black primer coat on both sides, and I give it 2 coats. And when it's done and dried, I give it a matte finish. And I made a boo-boo, not on this side, but on a part on the other side, and we'll get to that in a little bit. All right, so I'm going to begin the detail paint process, and I'm just going in and putting in the colors that I want. Starting by putting a brown over the grips there, and it almost looks like the first coat dried with a little bit of a wood grain, but it didn't really look that good up close. So I put a second or third coat onto it to fill it in. It's got some detailed metal parts on either side, and they're different on either side. And I went by a particular video, or not a video, but some pictures that I found online where someone had did a good job with an actual metal kit one, and I used that as a painting reference. So one of the drawbacks of this plastic model is that long brass or gold pin that goes along the side of the left side of the gun. It's attached in such a way that it doesn't really look like a pin. So I did a couple of things towards the end of my paint job to make it look more like a metal pin. So part of the flash hider, that's the muzzle part of the barrel there. Part of it's like a metal or silver color, and part of it's black. And that's basically 2 or 3 coats of everything to make it look nice. It's amazing how good this gun looks just flat black. It almost looks like something from a Bond movie. Which it is based on an actual gun. And off the top of my head, I can't think of what it is. I posted pictures on my Facebook and somebody pointed it out to me. And of course I can't think of it right now. When I put in the subtitles and stuff, I will add in the what the type of gun it's actually based on. I want to say it's something from like the 1890s. Yeah, and on this side, as I'm doing the detail paint, I mixed some silver and black, and a little bit of black into the silver to do some of the metal spots. I really like that, the way that color came out. It's almost like a gunmetal color. I used it on the trigger and the circle parts, and what looks like a safety lever. over there on the top right side, which that's the area where there's a mistake. So now that I'm done, I let it dry, and then I go and I give it a matte finish. But what happens? The matte finish eats up some of the paint, so I gotta fix that. So I get out my frog tape and I use it to mark out an area to where I have to remove the paint where the rest of the paint is fine. So I think what happened was when I put the first coat of matte finish down after the black, I didn't cover that area really well. So when the acrylic paint went on top of the enamel paint, and even though they were dry, but when the matte went on top of those, I think it caused a chemical reaction and it bubbled up. And it's happened before to me. So I'm going to use various tools here just to scrape out and fix the area. Basically an X-Acto knife, some sandpaper. I use some forceps. They got a sharp edge, and I also use a file. Now here's the thing. This mistake happened and I wanted to show it. I wanted to show the repair of it. I don't think I ever do any kind of craft project or model where something doesn't go wrong. And I think I heard Adam Savage talk about this once on his Tested channel, where he's making stuff, or the One Day Builds is what I'm talking about, where he's making something and something's not working right, so he's got to fix it. He's got to work out a whole new solution to it. Well, this is one of those cases where I had to do that. Yeah, so I'm about done there. Yeah, and I take the little canned air and I blow away all the stuff, all the debris, and I've respray painted that area black. Now, I didn't let it dry all the way, and I went and removed it. It was fine. It ended up working out. Frog tape works really good. It tends to pull up less paint. However, it did pull up some of the paint off the grips. So I had to repaint a little bit of that, but that's not a problem. Now I'm starting the whole detail paint process again, and of course I've made that gunmetal color that I like. And I repainted. Actually what I did is I put another coat of black acrylic down, let that dry. I wanted to cover in anywhere where the spray paint didn't get. Now I'm doing the gunmetal. So basically, it's like a really tiny dab of black in with a really good squirt of silver. I know that kind of makes no sense to most people, but I guess about if you put about a fingertip of silver and just a little drop of black and mix it in there, and it makes that really good gunmetal color. And of course, I'm using the inexpensive acrylic paints, the ones that you can get at Walmart. And I'm just going through and doing some dry brushing. I got a small chip brush that I like to do. Sometimes I put a little bit more paint down with it than I wanted because it wasn't really doing what I wanted when the brush was really dry. And then I ended up really going over the whole gun with it to give it kind of a metallic look. And I really liked what it did. And then I put some black over the grips, and I went in a grain direction. And I also ended up filling in some black on some of the sharper edges on the grips to make it look like where fingers and thumbs rest and stuff like that. Yeah, showing the progress right there. Yeah, more of that gunmetal. Love that color. Yeah, putting more metallic parts on some of the other edges. A lot of times when we work on projects, we think about one side and the other side. Don't forget you got to do the underside, backside, and the front barrel of the gun too, to give it some weathering. Otherwise, it looks like you missed a whole bunch of areas. And the silver part was just too clean with my weathering, so I said, well, I got to weather that up. So I went after it. I put some black. Well, here's the finished project. Then I'll let you look at it. Got some passes that I made of the gun. It's a really cool looking gun. And like I said, it's one of those in Star Wars that's based on a real gun. And which is, when Star Wars has the best props, it's stuff that's based in reality that we already had. And this is, again, one of those things, one of those props where we love it. We don't know why we love it, but that's because we've probably seen the real version of it, whether it be in a museum or in a film or whatever. Yeah, doing some nice passes there. See some of the weathering. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch y'all on the next video.